Hi, my name is Imran Haq. Welcome to another episode of The Voice of a Leader, the series where I interview high-achieving leaders, try and find out how they got to where they are. There are many challenges in becoming a successful pianist, such as your piano going out of tune, memorizing your script, and having sore hands. However, if you can overcome all these challenges, the music you can create is breathtaking. This week, I caught up with Rebecca Chambers, who is a leading Australian pianist and the founder and director of Chambers Music and Kitco. Rebecca, welcome to The Voice of a Leader.
Thanks, Imran.
That's okay. So at age 3, only age 3, you started piano lessons with your mother.
Yes.
And then at 10, you went on your first international tour.
Yes.
I have to ask, at such a young age, how did you develop and also maintain such a passion as a pianist at a young age? How did you do that?
Okay, firstly, when I started at 3, I was very fortunate because my mother was just training to be a piano teacher at the time.
Sure.
And there was a new approach that had been introduced to Australia called the Suzuki approach. And she was in the first group of teacher trainers when it came from Japan to Australia.
Japan, yeah. Yep.
And I was like the guinea pig. She tried it out on me to see if it worked.
Very good.
And then she taught me from the age of 3 till about 6. And then I had an incredible teacher called Nahama Patkin. And she travelled internationally. She's actually passed now. And she gave me so many performing opportunities. And I owe a lot to her because she made music and performing fun.
Very good. I was going to say, there's a lot of kids in their childhood, including myself, I just ate and slept all day. But how did you maintain that? Because I know concentration for kids is very tough when they're young. How did you maintain that concentration?
Okay, so apparently, I don't remember as a child, but my mother said I was just absolutely desperate to learn the piano.
Oh, wow.
I would just drag her to the piano, and I saw her other students playing, and I just was desperate to do it. So firstly, there was obviously the motivation and the enthusiasm about music. But I was a child that got distracted easily, and I'd run off and want to do other things. So she would keep me focused. And she was very positive in her approach. Yeah. So it certainly wasn't a strict mentality, but it was like that feeling that you've been given a gift, I'd like you to use it. And I felt that, but I certainly enjoyed it.
Sure.
But so over the years when I performed, I got so much joy out of that. When I was 6 or 7 years of age, I played with an orchestra as a soloist for the first time.
Unbelievable. 6, 7.
Yes, and I just thought this was so much fun, and this is what all kids do. And you've got a conductor, and there are 50 musicians playing behind you. And so I think that was certainly a motivating factor, because if you're just at home practicing on your own, that's not so social, and you often wonder where that's leading to. Whereas if you're playing for others and playing with others, I think the joy of music comes through, and you want to do more and more of it.
No, very good. Because I think your career spanned more than 20 years, so it's something I can see you've had a lot of motivation for.
Yes.
And you keep going. I was going to say, continuing on your career, obviously you won a lot of achievements, and one of which is sitting over there.
There it is.
Young Australia. That's a brilliant award. Congratulations again. I know it was a while ago, but
thank you.
That would have been a huge confidence boost when I'm sure you didn't expect to win that.
Not at all. I was nominated by a dear friend of mine, Tony Charlton, who was radio personality and was one of the first commentators when television first started in the 50s.
Amazing.
And he met me when I was in probably my late teenage years, and we had a beautiful connection, and he nominated me. So it came out of the blue, and I was living in New York at the time.
Oh, wow. Never in the country.
No. So my sister actually accepted the award when I won the Victorian section. And then, of course, when I was named Young Australian of the Year, it was such a thrill. And I came back from New York. And then the Australia Day Council organised a 6-month tour. And I travelled all around Australia. And all of a sudden, people expected me to have political views on everything. And I'm a musician, but
that's right.
All of a sudden I was thrown into that situation with the media, and I am probably naturally quite a shy person.
Sure.
So as a child, I remember sometimes thinking I would rather play the piano for 2,000 people than have an interview.
That's interesting.
I was actually quite shy, and when I went to my piano lessons, I didn't speak very much. I know that a lot of my friends and colleagues, they were very artistic and they were into drama, but I was quiet, and I was very much
So your talking was the music, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly how I felt. I felt like I communicated through music, And probably the reason I felt comfortable with the piano, because you're sort of side-on
Yep.
profile to the audience. I think singing is quite confronting.
That's right.
My husband's a singer, and I sometimes think that's, you actually got that eye contact, and there are a lot of other factors.
Yeah.
But piano was definitely the instrument for me.
Very good. Excellent. I was going to say, so you mentioned before you were living in New York.
Yes, yes.
And I think while you were there, you played one of your many roles. You were a soloist with the Manhattan Symphony Orchestra.
Yes.
What was that experience like? That would have been an amazing experience.
Well, it was. I mean, the chance to go to New York itself was incredible for a 19-year-old.
Oh, you're 19 at the time.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I didn't know anyone there. And I lived at International House, and it's quite a remarkable place. There were 120 countries represented in that one house of students.
Unbelievable. 120? How many rooms are there?
So there were 800 students in this
Oh my
massive place.
gosh,
Yeah,
incredible.
and we all shared a common eating hall. So you would meet every night. I'd just try and sit on another table and meet people from different countries, and yeah, I learnt a lot.
We've met
from
so many
that.
different people, yeah.
Yes.
Learned a lot from everyone as well.
Yeah, about the different cultures that people have come from. And also, I think you learn acceptance that way too. For a 19-year-old, that we all come from, it just gives you a wider perspective on the whole world. And fortunately, the Manhattan School of Music was directly opposite International House. So I just walked across the
Crazy,
road
nice.
and I did my master's degree there.
Very good. So you were there for
So-
5 years?
That's right,
Yeah.
yes.
How come it was only 5 years? You couldn't stay longer? Or?
Well, I was there for 2 years initially. That was the plan, to
Yeah.
do my master's degree. And then I was with an American boyfriend and I applied
Nice.
for a green card.
Oh, very good.
And I actually won a green card.
Too easy. Very good.
Well, that is very fortunate because I actually could not find a work place to sponsor me.
Sure.
So I came home and I was very disappointed because he was still living there.
Yeah.
I had 30 days to pack my bags, come home, and I think a few weeks later I received the note saying I'd won the green card. So
Brilliant.
it was
Good
obviously meant to be. So I went back and lived there for another 3 years and worked and performed.
Very good, very
Yeah,
good.
So
So after you actually won that
Yes.
award, I believe you did a lot of tours around Australia as a youth ambassador, and you were also
Yes.
a motivational speaker. What's just some of the topics that you talked about?
Okay, so like I said before, speaking was certainly not something I planned on doing because I was rather shy. But because I was in that situation of speaking, part of that 6-month tour was talking, and I developed a lot more confidence
Yes,
from it.
sure.
And this was really a great sort of learning curve for me, and I actually started loving it. Yeah, I guess if you do something, and you keep doing it, and you gather confidence from
Yeah,
it.
very
So I started working for another company who does motivational speaking, and that's what it was. It was talking to usually senior students
Sure.
and telling them what I've done, how I got to where I am. And I think what was fantastic about the speaking was often the schools would have a piano. So I think sometimes when you're relating to children or high school students, not all professions are able to display what they can do.
That's right.
So if you're an elite swimmer, obviously people probably have seen you in the Olympics or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's right.
So that's probably good. But you can't actually display it there at the talk. Whereas the piano was there, I used to talk first and then play, which was certainly not as successful as playing first.
Yeah, I understand.
So then I changed my whole
Yep.
way of doing it. I'd go in, I'd be introduced, I'd sit down and play, and I would find that I'd get so much more attention from the
Excellent.
students.
Very
Having
good.
seen what I can actually do,
Yeah.
yeah, it made a big difference.
Did you just present to
Yeah.
students or the
Yes.
other audience as well? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just mainly on music or just your experience, how you got to
It
where
was
you were?
really
Yeah.
about what makes a successful person. What steps did I take in my life? What was the environment like, and all those factors, And I think a lot of the time students now feel that success is in the way of money. We are quite a materialistic
Yeah.
world often, and I think that's a shame. Because being a musician, you certainly don't get into you don't get into that area or that field to make a lot of money.
Sure. So
So-
I'm not going to pursue that career then. I'm just joking.
So
So you founded and you're
Yeah.
currently director of Chambers Music and Kitco.
Yes.
What's some of the work that you do through those organisations?
Okay, so we've only been at our new location in Albert Park for 1 year, and it's been an incredible response that we've received. It's a beautiful community, there are lots of families here, and I just love being able to give young people the opportunity to learn an instrument.
Excellent.
We try to keep it affordable, we offer so many different instruments, and I just think we've found our niche. I feel like, because I was teaching on my own for 20 years,
Oh, wow.
and now when I have inquiries, I can actually say, no, you don't have to wait on a waiting list to learn. You don't have to be on a waiting list for 2 years. You can have music lessons right now. So It's been incredible. We now have 145 private lessons a week.
Unbelievable, nice.
Yeah. And you mentioned Kidco.
Yeah.
So Chambers Music is the private lessons, and Kidco is our singing, dancing and drama classes.
Very good.
And that's performing arts. And that's really mostly for primary school age children.
Very good. And you have a number of teachers that work under you?
Yes, we now have 15 teachers that
15,
work for
nice.
us. Yeah.
Very good. And I'll just finish on this note. So
Yes.
you're considered, I think, you're definitely one of the best pianists in Australia, and you've won many, many awards that prove that. For people out there who are keen to be in a position to be a successful pianist,
Yes.
what's some words of advice you'd give them?
Okay, so I think obviously there are a few factors that make a successful person or musician.
Yeah, sure.
And there's a lot of discussion about nature and nurture and that, but I actually feel that probably my personality and my determination to succeed and never give up and all those qualities
Sure.
certainly help. And also, as far as the practice goes, and because it is quite constant. Some children love music, but they don't want to practice every day because
sure.
it can be quite tiresome. But I feel like you need to have a goal. You need to be able to see where you're going. Because if you can see that goal and where you're heading towards, it makes it a lot easier. So my goal was always to travel overseas so I could compare myself with others. And so rather than thinking of the end goal, I think I've always broken it up into smaller goals along the way.
That makes it easier, yeah.
Yeah, rather than getting overwhelmed by, okay, in 10 years' time I'm going to be there. I think sometimes you have to live in the moment and just take each day as it comes and then just work as hard as you can. And I always tell my little 6-year-old the same thing, just never give up no matter what. Because I think one of my favourite quotes is actually, goes like this, it's life's failures are those who don't realise how close they are to success when they give up.
Oh, that's profound. That's very good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I often think of that. I think if you give up, success could have been just around the corner. And it's a little bit like, I know this is a strange analogy, but I often think of, when you're on hold
Yep.
and you're on a phone call and you're on hold, I never ever hang up because I always feel at any moment that they're going to pick up.
Yeah.
It's that same
That's
sort of
true.
feeling. Like, just, don't hang up because something,
I was going to say, even going
And-
along with that, sometimes
Yeah.
if you wait a bit longer and you pick up, it feels a bit sweeter.
Yeah.
Like especially when you try, it feels like when you get the reward, you put so much effort into it, so it feels much better.
Yeah. And I think there was another one that I used to make up as a child. What was that?
The
I
Rebecca
made my
Chambers
own
quotes,
one.
was it?
Yeah, what was it?
Just describe it if you can't remember.
Aim for everything and expect nothing.
Oh, that's a good one.
It is. And then some people say to me, well, expect nothing. Well, that's not good to expect nothing. But I feel like in life, the moments where we get really disappointed because our expectations are a certain level.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So.
I sometimes have that problem where I expect
Yeah.
really high,
Yes.
and the risk with that is if I don't get it, like I'll be really low.
Yeah.
So it's true to aim high, but yeah, expect nothing. I think
Yeah.
that's really good.
Like if you go into a movie and it's been talked up and you think it's the best movie in the world, you're always going to be disappointed, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's true because the expectation is really high.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not that you want to sort of have low expectations in that sense of, obviously you always want to aim high.
Yeah.
But the saying that I made up was, I think I was only about 8 years old. Aim for everything, expect nothing.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna. As I
Yeah.
said in a lot of my interviews, I'm going to start writing all this down.
Okay.
So I'll study it later.
Yeah.
Look, Rebecca, thank you so much for your time and from your busy schedule and everything. I've learned personally a lot from this interview and best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for watching another episode of The Voice of a Leader. Like my previous interviews, Rebecca was a brilliant interviewee. She made a lot of really, really good points, one of which was to never give up and take small steps until the final goal. Once again, thank you for watching. Remember, if you or someone you know is a high-achieving leader, would like to have an interview with me, please visit my website, answer 3 questions, and send an email to thevoiceofaleader@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like my Facebook page so you're kept up to date with the series. Thank you once again. Goodbye.